What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, featuring that next mod, of course. And we are out here, man. Last major week of the regular season. Still a lot to play for, including this matchup between Sam Houston State and Southeastern. Both these teams have beat Furman going into this game, so whoever wins this game is going to go to the conference championship with a mediocre conference record of 5-3. So guys, we got this game right here. We got 7 other games on top of that. It's going to be a great episode, and you're going to want to get your popcorn. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you happen to be brand new to the channel, as we'll go ahead and pick things up here in the second quarter. We still have not seen either team score yet, as Sam Houston State is going to start by throwing the football, and it's going to be intercepted by Southeastern. Yeah, absolutely hate to see that here, as you're trying to get some points on the board and you're just not making it easy on yourself, man. And even with that great field position, Southeastern, they still can't do anything with it. However, that being said, later on in the football game, we're going to go ahead and see Mateo West take it out on the perimeter, and we do end up seeing our first points in this ball game scored. Mateo West having himself a fantastic season so far. He's got the true freshman, has almost 2,000 yards of total offense this year as a wide receiver. You love to see that, and you love to see just David Brown just throwing the rock around the football as we get to the last minute here of this first half. Southeastern trying to go ahead and open things back up as they're on the verge of the red zone now. We're going to make this a 2-score game before we go into the locker room. And how about that dot right there? Touchdown, Southeastern. And the Lions, the Golden Lions, are going to make it 14-0. A nice little route pattern. You love to see it. And so a 14-3 lead now for Southeastern. But going into the second half, they tried to work the Cardiac Cats back into this game, as Brown is going to throw an interception. And that actually does get taken back all the way to the crib. That's Davis. And we got just a 4-point game here. As now 14-10 game. Brown is going to try to throw once again. He's been on and off so far, but goes back to his star receiver, Mateo West, who drops it right in the bucket. And it's going to be a goal line situation inside the 5-yard line. Looking to his left. He's looking. He's going to find his man in the end zone. Touchdown, Lions. And Southeastern reestablishes themselves in this football game. They're going to make it 20-10. They do end up missing the extra point. Now, David Bullock of Sam Houston State, he ends up hurting himself. So the backup quarterback's in the game. It's Louis Ward, who, by the way, is a true freshman and is also one of your guys' as custom players. He's going to get a really nice throw here. Throw it over to the left-hand side. He does get that touchdown that he's looking for. And Sam Houston State, they are hanging around. They're going to need that here from Louis Ward and company, as David Bullock might be done for the next 10 weeks with that broken jaw injury. So fighting for their life right now. FCS playoff, it's on life support right now, as Sam Houston State, they take the lead off of the punt return, and suddenly the Cardiac Cats are going to be in the lead. They were down 14-3 at the half, and they have stormed all the way back. And now the Lions are on their back foot right now, as Brown just going back to what works well, Mateo West. He's been absolutely shredding the defense. Going to celebrate a little bit there with another custom player, Michael Garrett. And that will get Southeastern in Bearcat territory, as Brown continues to move the ball downfield. He's got a receiver looking for Mateo West once again, but Peyton Harris is going to intercept this football. And now Sam Houston State in a position here where this game could very well be over. We'll see if the Cardiac Cats can finish the job. As they go to the running game, Williams is going to get the first down, but it's going to be fumbled on the ground. Southeast Louisiana, they are actually going to recover this fumble. And now, Southeastern with a chance to take a lead. We'll see what they do here. A couple plays later, we got a third down coming. They have struggled with their third down conversions today. 2 for 9 on the day. Brown looks, he's got some time. He's going to throw it, and it's going to be picked off. It's going to be intercepted. It's been a sloppy little game here. We've now seen 7 turnovers in this football game. And for now, those Cardiac Cats, they're going to hang on to that lead. How about David King getting in there and picking that pass off? So now Sam Houston State with a chance to go ahead and possibly put this game away. And it looks like the Cardiac Cats are going to survive for one more week. And look at all this run. There was not a lot of running room there whatsoever. Williams able to bounce it to the outside, able to get a nice score off of that. So at least on paper, this game should be over, but they do end up going ahead and kicking this football off. They get it into the hands. Looks like Garrett, he's going to take it down the sideline. He's got some space to work with, and hang on now, Southeast Louisiana. This game is not done yet. That's Cameron. Carlos Cameron makes it a 1-score game. They do get the 2-point conversion, but they do fail to get the onside kick. And Sam Houston State, they are actually going to survive. They outlast Southeast Louisiana. Your final score going to be 31-28 in this case. And how about that for one heck of a game that we certainly just witnessed. So Sam Houston State are going to improve to 7-4, while Southeast Louisiana, their regular season is likely going to end 6-5, going to be their final record. So now we go ahead and jump into the second game of this episode. Some Big 12 action here as we got Southern going on the road to take on the number 12 team in all of college football. We got the Tigers of Texas Southern. Now, Texas Southern, they have already clinched a berth to the Big 12 championship game, even though they cannot get the automatic berth because of their ongoing NCAA sanctions, but they're trying to finish off a good season. This will be Texas Southern's final game because of said sanctions. And they host this Southern squad who certainly's got some talent, but ever since season number 1, they have not really been able to go ahead and put it all together. We'll see if the Jaguars can do just that. As Southern will start with the football to begin this game. We'll see Mike Hill with the handoff. He's going to get it out to Pace. He's going to pace Southern into the end zone here. And that is how you want to start when you are an underdog and you are playing on the road. You get a touchdown, and not only is it a touchdown, it is a monumental score on the ground as well. Big plays, that's an easy way to shut down this home crowd and shut them up at least for a little bit. So now we'll see what Texas Southern does. They do have one of the best backers in the country, Roderick Murray, who is going to get such a carry. He is able to get loose for a little bit. Looks like there's no one that's going to catch him. Zoo Animal, the last person on screen, and he's just simply not fast enough. And look at this great space that he has. Murray able to bounce it to the outside eventually. That's barbecue chicken when it comes to one of the premier tailbacks in FCS college football. And yet, in spite of this dangerous duo, we still have ourselves a close game. Maybe Adam Mayhew is going to be forced to throw the football a little bit. Joseph Pierre Martin is going to make the tackle, one of your guys' custom players here once again. It will be a first down from the 18-yard line. Thought that could have possibly been an unsportsmanlike penalty. Sometimes when you see that celebration animation go for a little too long, sometimes that flag is pulled out. Not this time though. Later on in the drive, we got a 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Which one of these talented tailbacks they go to? It's Murray who pushes his way into the end zone. Touchdown Tigers. And Texas Southern retakes the lead. 14-10 is going to be your score. We might be in for a shootout on our hands as Mike Hill, he's got to perform. Gets it out to Pace, around the left-hand side. He's got some space to work with. Down the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Southern. Back and forth is what we got going on right now. You absolutely love to see it here, man. As Mike Hill just makes a great decision. Gets it out to his running back in the open field. And make sure that job gets taken care of. Another touchdown for Southern. And speaking of those Southern Jaguars, they force a Texas Southern free and out. It's a lot of Southerns, but how about 44 able to get the fumble? He's gonna high step his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. And Texas Southern, man, they get that forced fumble from Mike Hill, and once they recovered it, they got into open space. That's simply gonna be barbecue chicken every single time. As now, last seconds here of this first half, Mike Hill, he's going to run it into the end zone. So, a really well played here first half. We didn't see a ton of turnovers aside from the Mike Hill fumble that we saw last couple of minutes of the first half. 24-21 is going to be your score at halftime, and it will remain that score for quite a while as we'll jump into the second half of action. Somehow this ball was fumbled. Texas Southern, they end up recovering it, and you hate to see it. Mike Hill puts together a really good ball there, and he's able to get above 200 yards of passing. He's having a great game here so far. And Texas Southern in a prime position right now to take the lead. However, they go free and out. Let's jump now to the fourth quarter. Still the same score. Turning into a much different game. A game of who's going to outlast the other. Hill looks over the middle. He's going to find his receiver. He makes the catch and is going to be able to pick up the first down. As that is Irvin Bennett. He's having himself a nice day today. 5 catches, 82 yards. A great performance so far. As they go on the ground later on the drive. Pace with a wide open space to work with. And Southern football, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to extend the lead. Okay, Southern might be like that, and they're going to try to put the dagger in the number 12 team in the nation. Can they finish the job? Pace able to get a nice run, get across midfield, and after some careful running, they get to a 1st and goal from the 9. Pace, one more time, gets it into the end zone. Touchdown, Southern. Carlos Pace pacing this Southern squad. And it's now 38-21. That is going to be your score. And Texas Southern, they're going to concede the game. 40 seconds left. You would think they'll be a little bit more on the aggressive side, but we're not going to see that. They're just going to get themselves up out of here. Still a solid little season there for Texas Southern, 8-3. But it sucks to lose on your senior night. It really is, especially because this group is not going to experience postseason action aside from the Big 12 championship game, which they still get a chance to go to even with this loss. As for Southern, they're also going to be done for the regular season. They will at least finish 500. Now, they were nationally ranked in the top 40 in spite of their record. So, we'll see what the AP Bowl does with Southern. I'm going to be really curious to see what happens to the Jaguars. But either way, it's a great win for them. So, one more game before we have our first studio update of this episode. We got a non-conference matchup this time around. And we got Eastern Washington going all the way across the country to take on South Carolina State. 6-4. They're also looking to try to get themselves into the FCS playoffs. And they definitely have themselves some very talented football players, particularly on their defense. South Carolina State, I would say, one of the best defenses in the entire country. But offensively, they've been held back. We'll see if McDougal and, this offensive group can get things going. And that's not going to help. Eastern Washington is going to actually fumble the football there. It's going to be taken all the way back to the crib. So technically the offense with negative points for South Carolina State as they cough up the ball. And that's how the first points of this game is going to be scored, baby. Eastern Washington going to give themselves a 7-0 lead, as they are outside of that realm of possibility to make it to the FCS playoffs. But hey, they can certainly play a little bit of spoiler, as South Carolina State, they are on the bubble coming into this one. We'll see if they can go ahead and come out here and play with just a little bit of urgency, as we see McDougal throw a nice ball over the left-hand side, gets them in to Eastern Washington territory. But then next play, we see McDougal throw it up into traffic, and it's going to be picked off. It's going to be intercepted by Justin Smith. And a great start here for the Eagles of Eastern Washington, as they'll look to go ahead and extend this lead. Carl Fousen, the true sophomore, he's going to go play action. Got some time, gets over to the left-hand side and throws an absolute dot. And that is absolutely required in order to beat this defense, because they got some guys on the defensive end, especially a couple that could very well be future NFL guys. And that is impressive to say, even for the FCS level. Is now 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. They're going to try to get the speed option game going, and they actually do get it to work, as Fousen is able to get the pitch off to Barrett, and he does the rest of the stuff. Everyone focus in on that quarterback. Nobody out there on the outside that's able to make a play. And Eastern Washington not only trying to pull an upset, but they're trying to run away with this game as well. Absolutely love to see it. These teams refusing to get up, as McDougal trying again to throw the football. He's just having himself a tough day. And you see the stats for Carlos McDougal. He has not been a very good quarterback over his collegiate career, even though he's been a multi-year starter at this point. 22 touchdowns, 20 of interception we just saw him throw in his career. And fouls on the other way. He's making some things happen, but his receivers are folding on him a little bit there, as we see a fumble recovery. South Carolina State, they're going to get their hands on the football, and they're going to stay in this football game, at least as of right now. Second half, we go up to McDougal, who goes to that running game. Nice running space here. Nice stiff arm, and it's going to be in the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina State. How about that run by Shaw, stiff arming a man into the very next dimension. And South Carolina State back in this football game. We'll see if that defensive errors can create yet another turnover. They already got one. Fousen dropping back, looks over the middle. He's gonna hang in the pocket. Lots of chaos there in the pocket, but hangs tough. Eventually he finds a receiver that he's looking for. It's a first down for Eastern Washington. We'll see if they can finish this drive with some points, though. As now, 2nd and short from the 26-yard line. Fousen dropping back on 2nd down. He's going to throw it towards the end zone. All or nothing. And beats Quan Hutch, the true freshman custom. Hits it right through there. Custom versus custom. And Carl Fousen is going to prevail. So Eastern Washington definitely starting to run away with this game now. 21-10 is going to be your score up to this point. And now Shaw's going to need to make a big play for the Bulldogs. And he might actually deliver. He's got some space. Only needs to get away from the kicker. And he does. No one's going to catch him. Not even Ball Hawk Woods, who's been some time on special teams. Touchdown, South Carolina State. And it stays 24-17 until the final minute, where Eastern Washington is going to go ahead and make sure that they put the finishing touches. We got ourselves an upset on our hands, as we get a solid performance from the Eastern Washington offense. And they are going to win this football game. 31-17 is going to be your final score. Eastern Washington, they do get themselves over 500, so a nice season. As for South Carolina State, they were sitting on the bubble going into this football game, and that is not going to help their cause whatsoever. They might effectively be eliminated from the FCS playoffs now. They had a chance to make it happen, and unfortunately, a bad day to have a really bad game, and that's exactly what happened. Give credit to Eastern Washington, though. They do what was required in order to win the football game. So making it through the early games here, we are going to go ahead and check out some scores around the NCAA here in these early action. We start with Buffalo going on the road against Ball State. And Buffalo taking an upset here in MAC action. 41-14 being your final score, as Buffalo is in serious danger now of falling out of the top 25. As for New Hampshire, they will go ahead and take care of business against William & Mary in their season finale. 31-3 being their final score, and New Hampshire going to the ACC championship game. Maine will also take on New Mexico here, and New Mexico State winning 38-20, which could very well solidify their bid to the FCS playoffs here in year number 3. So we come back from our studio update as we jump back into the action. We got number 3 James Madison going on the road to take on the Bears of Brown. Now, their fate has already been decided. They have a national rank of 83. They aren't winning the Ivy League title either, so they got nothing left to lose except maybe play some spoiler here on their senior day, taking on this extremely talented James Madison football team. Now, these two teams, they went up against each other back in year number 2, and Brown almost pulled off the upset. We'll see if this game happens to be close too, but Jody Gentry, he's got himself some different ideas. The sophomore is going to run away from the entire Brown defense, and just like that, James Madison, they're going to get themselves on the board. Brown's going to have to bring it on offense today, as James Madison, they are one of the best offenses in the country, and they're going up against a Brown defense that put up 56 on them against Yale, right? So definitely going to see if this Brown team can go up to the occasion, or will this be a blowout? Rogers to the right-hand side, trying to target the tight end Kevin Crum, but Jason Alexander is going to get a critical interception here, his third one here, I believe, of the season. And hang on now, hold that thought, we might have ourselves a football game after all, as Brown is going to take over at midfield, and Josh McCoy is going to take over. The sophomore hangs calmly in the pocket, throws a dart into the end zone, touchdown Brown. And we got ourselves a game now, all knotted up at 7. This could be a very fun one. Rogers, other way, that's intercepted. So Brown with a chance here to take the lead, as now the Bears are going to take over here at about the 40-yard line. Trying to push that through. It looks like Brad Ondrowsy was the target. And now Josh McCoy with a chance to go ahead and give his team the lead. Throws it up for his fellow custom Kevin James. And he comes down and makes the catch. You'll love to see it, baby. And so Brown's going to keep that drive alive. McCoy dropping back. He's looking, facing some intense pressure though. And he's going to get lit up like a Christmas tree by Sean Green. And having a big time season right now. That's the 10th sack that he has gotten this season, and part of a very talented James Madison defense. 2nd and 18 now from the 38-yard line, as McCoy is going to drop back again. He's got a little bit more time to work with. Throws it up 1-on-2, and it doesn't matter. Justin Horton is going to come down with a big time grab, as he just believed in his number 1 receiver. And it is rewarded likewise, as McCoy has a chance to give Brown the lead, but he's going to be sacked once again. This defensive line for the Dukes is just absolutely ferocious. It might be a long day for McCoy, but instead, 3rd and 17, he keeps calm and goes to his number 1 touchdown. Brown. The Bears have the lead against the number 3 team in America. And ladies and gentlemen, we might have ourselves a little bit of an upset alert here. That would, if Brown holds on to win this game, that would really shake things up in the FCS playoff race. Let me tell you what. But McCoy is not perfect. He will also throw an interception here on this next possession. And now we'll see if James Madison, are they going to be sparked by that? Is that what we're going to be seeing here? As we're seeing James Madison move the football, but not finish drives. We'll see if that changes here with this 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. As Rogers drops back, he's got some time, throws to the left-hand side. It's intercepted again. trying to target Jonathan Henderson, and Mark Robinson cuts it off. Huge play there. That's his third interception of the season. And just cutting him off. And Brown with a chance to really pull away. McCoy facing pressure. He's going to get lit up like a Christmas tree, though. Another sack. Another second and long. This is an obvious passing down now as McCoy looks over the middle, tries to go to his tight end, but it's going to be intercepted. I just burp/hiccup there a little bit. That's kind of sexy. But either way, James Madison, they're going to take back over. They're hanging around. You know, this is obviously not an A game from James Madison by any means. And I'm sure there's going to be some people in the comments that, you know, James Madison is frauds. You know, we've had that conversation in the last couple of years. But for now, Kevin Crum is going to get into the end zone here. Stephen Rogers gets it right on target with where it needs to be. And the Dukes are right back into this game. Just a field goal difference now. We'll see if Brown has another gear. McCoy under center, dropping back. He's going to have to try to run with the football. He fumbles it while trying to, I don't know if he's trying to throw it away or what he was trying to do there, but it just wasn't it. He might have been hit before the ball was officially going forward, and that's what it looks like here. Is that is Green that forces the fumble. Double-digit sacks already. He's a difference maker. So now, James Madison with a chance to tie this game, and it's going to be incomplete. That was Jody Gentry trying to go ahead and get that game-leading touchdown, but instead they got to work a little bit harder. 2nd and 9. It's going to be thrown over the left-hand side, and they finally go to the big-time target, David Thorne, Heisman finalist, by the way, right as Stephen Rogers was getting hit too. If that was thrown a second later, that would have been a sack, or even worse, maybe even a fumble. But you got to give credit to this Brown squad, though. They are showing a lot of resiliency right now. They are not giving up here on senior night. 4th down from the 3-yard line. They're going for it. They're going to try to run into the end zone, and it's fumbled. James Madison is going to recover. So even though they technically give up the first down, this goal line defense here is going to ultimately hold up for the Dukes. And that's massive. Brown was looking to take the lead there, but instead, 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line. They try a toss play to BJ Bowers. I have no idea why you would do that on inside your 1-yard line, trying to do a toss. But Brown gets the safety there, and now it's just a 2-point game. After the safety, they do get the football back as well. They go back to Novak, and Novak simply has nowhere to go with it as Chris Maxwell able to blow him up there in the backfield eventually. But Brown's been really good on 3rd down so far. We'll see if that continues here as McCoy throws it over the middle. It's going to be intercepted. It's going to be taken down the field. The 20, the 10, touchdown, James Madison. And Brown, that's his 5th turnover of the game. Oh my goodness. And that's the crazy part in all of this. Brown has turned over the football so many times. And just now we're starting to see James Madison pull away here. And in danger of losing here on senior night. As McCoy, one last gasp here with 1:45 left to play. Does find the tight end. Double coverage. But it doesn't even matter though. He's going to come down and make that catch for you. You absolutely love to see it. As that now makes it another 3rd down. Brown, they need a score here. A field goal would be acceptable. 3rd and 12. McCoy facing some pressure. Rolls to his right. Gets it out to Justin Horton, who runs it into the end zone. Touchdown, Bears. And how about McCoy hanging in there and just, making a good read? You love to see it, but it ultimately won't be enough. James Madison is going to survive. They're going to finish the regular season 9-2. They're not going to a conference championship game either. So it does look like the Dukes are very likely to get themselves a top 8 seed, which is required in order to get a first round in the upcoming FCS playoffs. Congratulations in advance to the James Madison Dukes. So now we go ahead and jump to another team that is in the top 8 right now, looking for a first round bye as well. We got Georgia Southern taking on the Rattlers of Florida A&M, led by their first-year head coach, Justin Credible. And Florida A&M, they got a decent little team. They still got to work out some, recruiting issues on the offensive side of the ball. But we'll see what this defense can do against Georgia Southern, against Ikeda Woods, who's also a Heisman finalist. But for now, we'll see the offense of Florida A&M first. Kevin Sutton, not the best starter in the world, but he can make some plays for you. And we certainly saw that play being made right there. Florida A&M all of a sudden trying to get the first points on the board as they get it out to Benito Zimmerman. How about that pass? Beautiful job there by Kevin Sutton. Leaving a lot of air under that football and just giving your running back, who's got elite speed here at the FCS level, giving him some room to run it. And he'll end up finishing the drive here as well. So, early 7-0 lead here for Florida A&M. You love to see it. That's what you got to do if you want to pull the upset. Now, can they stop this running game from Georgia Southern? That's going to be really difficult, and no one has been able to solve that problem for the most part the entire season. They go reverse with Albert Miniachi, and it's a tie ball game again, as we now go ahead and see Florida A&M is going to have to put up a lot of points in this game. I have that feeling, but they got some weapons. Quay Davis, he's one of them. He can play for sure. But going up against an elite defense in Georgia Southern, number 3 in the country in total defensive yardage allowed. As we start the second quarter now, Sutton has some time, is going to throw it to the left-hand side, and how about that for a tight window? I don't know how he managed to get that in there, but he got it in there right over DeAndre Dowdell II. Man, that is a tight window for sure. And Sutton gonna try to finish the drive, but it's going to be intercepted. So a big time throw by Kevin Sutton, only to throw it right towards the defense on the very next play. You absolutely hate to see it too, because Florida A&M, they were in golden opportunity, golden chance to take the lead against number 6 team in the country. And now your defense has to come out here and make a play. Next drive for the Eagles, as we'll see Ikeda Woods actually pass the football here. And how about this? Getting it over the top of the defense, gets it to the sophomore tight end, Chris Palmer. He was a backup last year, but he is starting to really carve out a role for Georgia Southern here this season. And that is going to be a touchdown by a custom prospect. Make that 14-7 here for Georgia Southern, as they will be enjoying their very first lead of this football game. So now the pressure gets put on the Rattler offense. Does it have another gear? Again, gets it out to Benito Zimmerman, who fumbles the football. It's recovered, and it's going to be recovered by Georgia Southern. And this right here is an absolute nightmare scenario right now. The last thing that you wanted to do was fumble the football and give Georgia Southern an extra possession. And that is exactly what they do. Ikeda Woods, smelling blood in the water. He is going to run it in himself here. And it's going to be a touchdown for the Eagles. Make that 21-7. And what's nice about having an elite rushing attack, you can also get some third down conversions. Miniachi, you're able to get it to the left-hand side. No, this is Williams. And that's going to be another touchdown for Georgia Southern. This game really starting to get out of hand right now, as it looks like Florida A&M, they just do not have the horses to compete. They're still probably a year or two away from making the playoffs, but definitely some progress here for Florida A&M, no matter what happens in this game. And of course, no one has really figured out how to bottle up Ikeda Woods over the course of an entire game. They almost, held him to a pretty modest game, but he's just so slippery for a guy that's 5'6". He's hard to tackle, and he's going to try to run into the end zone again. Spins away from a defender and gets into the end zone. How about that for a score? And at this point, Ikeda, He's just running them numbers up so that he can bolster his stock for the Heisman Trophy, maybe even for an opportunity to go to the NFL. Maybe not as a quarterback. He might be too small for quarterback. I know there's a brand new era of NFL QBs, 5'10", 5'11", that are still successful. I mean, Kyler Murray and, Russell Wilson for a long time was a prime example of that. But 5'6", though, it's going to be hard to overcome, no matter what position he plays. But one thing is clear. He is a very electric football player, and he's going to lead Georgia Southern to a 10-1 record, winning 42-7 against Florida A&M. So here's to hoping that we get some closer games moving forward as we now move on to North Dakota State taking on UMass on the road, and one of our first snow games that we get to see over the course of this season. So that's going to be really interesting to see how this game turns out, because when there's some not so great weather out there, like we're seeing out here on the field in Massachusetts, that always is an equalizer. And remember, UMass was able to beat North Dakota State last year, and this is how you do it. Get up early on the Bison and make them extremely uncomfortable. How about this to get going? UMass, not known for that offense. They get an 80-yard touchdown here to get the game going. Beautiful spin move, by the way. Gets away from the entire defense. You don't see North Dakota State get beat that badly very often on the defensive side of the ball. But now we'll go ahead and see if UMass can hold things down like they did last year. But this time, Anderson is going to get loose, and he is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, North Dakota State, and just in a blink of an eye, just like how we got in a really explosive play from UMass, we're going to get one from the Bison as well. So it's all knotted up. We'll go ahead and hop into the second quarter of action here between these two squads as we go ahead and see Ferguson under center. Anderson almost getting blown up in the backfield. He makes a couple of guys miss, though. Suddenly got himself a convoy, and he almost took that into the end zone as well. How about the work of this offensive line after Anderson breaks those initial tackles? It's now a red zone opportunity. Ferguson going to try to pass it here. Third down, gets it out over to, looks like Macklin that made the play. And it's a rare passing touchdown for North Dakota State. They love to run the football, and they got UMass sucked in for sure. And North Dakota State's going to take the lead. Next possession. UMass is trying to go into halftime at this point with, a marginal deficit. But you punted the football to Mike Sapp. When you give the ball to Mike Sapp, do it at your own risk, my guy. And Mike Sapp makes them pay for it as UMass had to punt it out of their own end zone. It's another score. And now we see the dominance of North Dakota State here. Anderson looks right. He's going to make a man miss. It's a foot race between him and another man. And he almost broke that to the crib as well. But that does not change the fact Ken Anderson's having a great game today. 8 carries, 170 yards right now. He is a menace right now. As now they're in UMass territory. Another person going to run the football. It's Ferguson trying to get away from the linebacker, and the linebacker catches up at the very last second. But now UMass is getting gashed, and they are getting gashed quite often here as North Dakota State, solid in the red zone, looking to pull away. Read option to the left-hand side. Ferguson gets it out to Ken Anderson, and he's going to plow his way into the end zone. Touchdown, North Dakota State, as they are solidifying their first round bye hopes as well. Winning this game would pretty much guarantee that they do not have a conference championship for the Pac-12. And the Bison, you try not to worry about the style points too much, but, college football definitely worries about this. How about this as a way to score? Ferguson tries to pitch it out to Ken Anderson, but somehow it's still fumbled. I'm surprised they don't call that a touchback or anything like that. Thought you couldn't fumble the football forward back then, but maybe times are different back in 2005 than it is right now. I don't know. Y'all let me know down in the comments if you're an older head, since 2005 was when it was around the time that I started to care about sports, and this game right here was a huge reason why when I was a kid. Just absolutely built different, right? But that being said, AJ Ferguson, he's going to run it into the end zone, and that will seal the deal for the Bison. They win big in this one. No worry about an upset here. 56-10 is going to be your final score in this game. So now we go to a couple of top 25 matchups. We're going to go ahead and start with the biggest one of the week, the game of the week that features the battle of the wagon wheel. We got number 10 Kent State going on the road to Akron and taking on the number 7 team in the country, the Akron Zips, who are undefeated in conference play right now. But given these two teams have not played each other, whoever wins this game is going to go to the conference championship and is going to play the winner of whoever wins the next game. So we're going to see that formulation of the MAC championship. You might as well think of it as the semifinals here for the MAC conference. Just the way that the scheduling happened to work out for this season. Lee Corso is going to be rocking with the Akron Zips, by the way, as we'll see Kent State do what a two-time defending national champion does. Whenever they're doubted, they're going to go ahead and get some points on the board here early. Make that 7-0. As Kent State, they are actually going to get up early on the Akron Zips here. They get that early touchdown, and then we get a little bit of special teams action here as well, where Akron does not have the most ideal kick coverage in this game. But Kent State, they jump up 14-0. And Kent State, they've had some questions as well here in this season, simply because, they've already lost multiple games. Can they sustain a third loss? Not quite sure. But this is a really good game that the Golden Flashes are having in order to go ahead and alleviate those concerns. And we continue to see that here, as even though the offensive production is really similar, both teams have less than 100 yards. It was a really ugly game to start things out. Special teams has really been the difference. And speaking of special teams, we'll see if Akron can do something about that in a positive way, or is it going to get worse for the Zips? Hang on now. He's going to take it downfield. He is all by himself, and I do not see any flags on the play as well. That is a touchdown for Akron, and they finally go ahead and get themselves on the board. We'll see if this Akron squad can rally and get themselves to the MAC championship. Ensuing kickoff, we go ahead, see Kent State go ahead and take control of the football, able to get away from some defenders, got a couple of broken tackles here as well. And that is going to be a touchdown for Kent State too. Oh my goodness. And Kent State, in the battle of the wagon wheel, they are running away with this ball game. But we still got a half of play, and we're going to see if Akron, they got anything in them. And how about this? Wide but naked open, and Akron is going to get themselves an actual offensive touchdown. I mean, look at the space that there's there. Everyone bites on the run action. And here comes the Akron Zips, trying to go away and start a comeback. Dropping back, facing some pressure, fumbles the ball, and the comeback train, it is going to go ahead and be derailed extremely quickly, as that is going to be taken all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Golden Flashes. As that will wrap things up. Kent State, they will win the battle of the wagon wheel, finishing the regular season 9-2. And interesting thing to note, Akron, one of the few teams out there that did end up playing a 12th game. Most teams in NCAA 06, they typically only play 11. So that's a nice little interesting tidbit. But either way, congratulations to Kent State. They will be moving on to the MAC Conference Championship game. And we will go ahead and see who they will play up against when those conference championship games are going to be played. So with that, we have a rivalry game to end this episode. Another top 25 matchup here. We got Eastern Michigan, the number 18 team in the nation. They are trying to solidify their FCS playoff hopes as they take on the number 11 ranked Central Michigan Chippewas. As you can see, the standings for the MAC West Division, and I'll tell you what, winner of this game, you already know what it is. They are going to decide who is going to go ahead and play against Kent State in the MAC championship. And the Chippewas, they're led by Chris Wilson, one of the better running backs in the country, trying to get himself to 1,000 yards here on the season. And let's go ahead and hop right into it. Central Michigan with the football. Get it into the hands of your best player, and that is always a recipe of success when you can go ahead and get your best football player on your team involved in the game. And Central Michigan's going to take a 7-0 lead, but Eastern Michigan, they got to go ahead and punt the football away, and special teams going to get involved here. How about this for a return? Taking it all the way back to the crib, and that is going to be a touchdown for the Chippewas. Make that 14-0 as Central Michigan trying to not only go to the MAC championship, but they're trying to do so with a 40 right now. They are ultimately going to go ahead and take a 21-0 lead into halftime. We'll see if Eastern Michigan can recover. Third quarter, Central Michigan, they get the ball to start the second half, and they're going to score on this drive as well. Taking it all the way to the house, and this fan base is absolutely going insane right now. That cannon is going to be busy, and I'm not talking about the one on the right shoulder of Watkins, the quarterback for the Chippewas. And that is now a 28-0 lead. Later on in the game, Trent Trenzel trying to lead some sort of continuity, but it is not happening here today for this Eastern Michigan squad. And that's tough as well, because if they lose as badly as I think they're going to lose by, there's a very real chance that Eastern Michigan is going to miss the playoffs. And you absolutely hate to see that, losing an FCS playoff berth in literally your final regular season game. It's a really tough pill to swallow, and that's exactly what happens here. 42-0. Central Michigan wins this game. They'll play against Kent State, but now Eastern Michigan, they're on the bubble here. So before we go ahead and check out the newest Sports Illustrated magazine, let's check out some more scores in the late night action here at the FCS Dynasty. We start with Eastern Kentucky going on the road to play against Princeton, and on senior day, the Tigers can't pull it out, losing 40-17. Eastern Kentucky improves to 8-3 and look like a lock to make it to the FCS playoffs for the very first time. As for Alcorn State, it was a rough season for the Braves here, but they will finish the year strong against the Charleston Cougars as Alcorn State wins 37-7. The Braves finish with a 3-8 record, while Charleston finishes 2-9 here in year 3. Temple, meanwhile, goes on the road to play against Western Illinois, and while the Leatherbacks played a spirited game, they just do not have the horses to compete ultimately, losing by a touchdown to Temple, as the Temple Owls are looking to get a first-round bye in the FCS playoffs. Mid-Tennessee State, meanwhile, needed to win this game against Troy to make it to the FCS playoffs, and it looks like that will be foiled ultimately as Troy wins 34-16. Mid-Tennessee State in serious trouble of missing the playoffs. And finally, to wrap up today's FCS action, we got the number 14 ranked Idaho Vandals going on the road to take on the Bison of Howard. Howard trying to finish above 500, but it's not meant to be as Idaho wins 35-21, finishing with a really good 9-2 overall record. And now, we'll check out the final game that we have here in week number 14 of the FCS Dynasty. So not only was that final game between Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan going towards the Chippewas, but that also was a blowout. So I'm really curious to see now what kind of effect is that going to have here on the top 25 polls. As you guys may already know, top 6 remaining the same as of right now. No movement as of yet. But then we start getting into the bottom part of those top 8 buys. We see Kent State, they get the number 7 overall seed now, looking to get that first round bye. Eastern Carolina does hold at 8. That being said, Central Michigan, arguably a more impressive win than Kent State. They only move up 1 spot. They're currently number 10. They will play against Kent State in the conference championship game. Now, Utah State moves up a couple of spots despite being on bye, so some chaos in the top 15 benefits the Utah State Aggies. Idaho moves up number 2. Eastern Illinois moves up a couple of spots as well, as does Southern Eastern Missouri State. They do have one more game though. Going into the bottom part of the top 25, Akron moves down 8 spots, one of the bigger drops that we've seen among teams that remain. Akron, keep in mind, also playing 12 games, so an interesting note right there. Eastern Kentucky, 8-3. They should be in, as they did finish the year off with a win against Princeton. New Mexico State up to number 17. SMU up to number 18 in the country, followed by Western Carolina and Texas Southern, who are both on 2-year probation, so they don't get a chance to play in the FCS playoffs this year. As for North Carolina A&T State, a good year for the Aggies as they're up to number 21. They should be making their first playoff appearance. Montana should be going to the playoffs as well, number 22 in the nation. UNLV at 23, followed by, look at this, Southern sneaks in there at number 24 in the country. They don't have any more games, so they could very well be going to the FCS playoffs. Certainly did not see that coming. And then UCF rounding out the top 25. As for teams that are also receiving votes as of right now, Sacramento State, they're right in there with 95 votes. Furman with 62. Sam Houston State is in that conversation as well, alongside the Citadel and Youngstown State. Few schools to watch there in terms of teams that could sneak in to the FCS playoffs as we are closing out this regular season here of the 3rd season of the FCS Dynasty. As for the Heisman watch, as of right now, we got a new person at the top. Ikeda Woods is there, the junior quarterback. Has only thrown 107 pass attempts, but what he's done on the ground is nothing short of special. 32 total touchdowns on the season, including 4 of which that came against Florida A&M, as Ikeda Woods is leading Georgia Southern to a first-round bye. Speaking of first-round byes, David Fourn is in here as well, the true sophomore, remaining in 2nd place, despite only a 2-catch and 32-yard performance against the Brown Bears. Meanwhile, a couple of guys that did end up sliding, but maybe partially because their seasons did end a little bit early compared to some of these other teams. Robert Johnson is a prime example of that. He's number 3 right now. And then Ryan Fawn is number 4. Hasn't played in a hot minute. Finally, to round out the group, we got Michael Williams, the senior wide receiver from Western Carolina. Hasn't played since their loss to the Delta Devils, but still a very good wide receiver. Many to consider him as the top prospect for the NFL draft here in the FCS level, and with that 96 overall, he should be getting drafted here in the first 3 rounds. We'll have to wait and see till the offseason, obviously. And then finally, for NCAA Players of the Week, we go to the offensive side of the ball first. We got Kenny Robinson, the junior running back for the Golden Flashes, a 38-14 win against Akron in the Battle of the Wagon Wheel, and also decides who goes to the conference championship game as well, and he performs. 380 all-purpose yards, 4 total touchdowns as well. He was absolutely electric. But don't sleep on the NCAA Defensive Player of the Week. We got Derek Baker, the senior outside linebacker playing for the Idaho Vandals. Part of that 35-21 win against the Howard Bison. He was all over the field. 10 tackles, 4 of which were TFLs. He got multiple sacks on the quarterback, and he was also to pick up Carlos Saturday multiple times in that game as well. So a great performance for Derek Baker as they lock in an FCS playoff berth for the Idaho Vandals. So next episode, we are actually going to wrap up regular season action here, as we have 4 total games remaining here in the regular season. We'll watch Morgan State take on Rhode Island, Towson taking on Northwestern State, and then rounding out Week 15 action, we'll have UMass playing against Portland State on national television. But for the first time, we'll see the same team play twice in one episode, as there was a week 16 this year, and it will be Morgan State to go on the road, play against Southeast Missouri State for the Red Hawks senior day finale. So we'll see if Morgan State can pull off the upset and maybe create one last little tidbit of chaos, as some of these teams that are 6-4, right in that range right now, trying to make their case for the FCS playoffs here. One final push, so we'll do all that in the next episode, as well as have a little preview of the conference championship games. Should be a good one, so make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new to the channel. This is John J. Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.